Bears roster cuts are coming in. We're going to update you on all those. Now that the preseason is over, we're going to swing around the NFC North and get an update from Hallis Hall with our guy Patrick Norton as well. CHGO Bears starts right now. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. What's up, Bears fans? Adam Hoge and Greg Braggs Jr. with you on this glorious fall feeling morning. It's chilly outside. All of a sudden, we're getting closer and closer to football season, Greg.
Yep. Yesterday, you felt it as well. The brisk, crisp air. It is officially football season. I mean, yes, we're 2 weeks away from today for Bears Monday Night Football. And but we're officially in the week of college football. College football already started last weekend. You've got some of the bigger games coming up here this upcoming weekend. It's exciting.
And I wore my caramel sweatshirt today because high school season gets underway this week too. It already did right. Up north in Wisconsin. They start a week earlier because they have to shoot deer. That's actually true. There's the high school season starts a whole week earlier, so that's over in time for deer hunting season. That's what those people up north with the Packers and the cheeseheads, that's the stuff they worry about. We are going to actually talk a little Packers a little bit later on the show because I have thoughts on every other NFC North team now that the preseason is over, so I'll share those with you coming up in a little bit. Off the top of the show, though, before we even get in the roster cuts, speaking of it being football season, and we're 2 weeks away from our first tailgate, we got to tell you about our brand new tailgate tier. If you've been holding out on being a CHGO diehard, or this is most important, if you're already a diehard, you can upgrade to our CHGO diehard tailgate tier. This includes 2 free Bears tailgate tickets every year, not just this year, but as long as you remain in the tailgate tier going forward, you get 2 Bears tailgate tickets every single year, plus your free CHGO shirt that you always get, full diehard access, and plenty more. Most importantly, you don't have to be a new member to take advantage of that. If you're already a diehard, you can upgrade with a prorated discount. All you got to do is log into your diehard account, and your personalized upgrade price will appear on the site. And Greg will be the first to tell you this. We're just like giving this away to you because those tailgate tickets, are not exactly the cheapest thing ever because they come with all you can eat and drink. And so you're getting like triple your value right here just between being a diehard and getting 2 tailgate tickets basically for the price of 1, right?
Right. No, it literally, as soon as you pay for it, I mean, a lot of our, deals that we've given here over the last year and throughout the summer, the Hogan Johns deal as well, they eventually pay for themselves actually fairly quickly. But this one, I can tell you for sure, pays for itself as soon as you sign up. And that's with the shirt and the 2 tailgate tickets. If you're able to take advantage of that opportunity, I would jump all over that because then what's included with that? Well, now you've got exclusive written content coming right to your doorstep every single day from Adam Johns, Adam Hoge, Mark Harmon. Johns has just been unbelievable here since he's joined us. Bringing exclusive written content basically every day for exclusively to you CHGO diehards, and we appreciate every single one of you. You get discounts on all events going forward, and that's not just for Bears, that's Bulls, Cubs, Blackhawks, White Sox, all the way across the board. So you're getting access to all those teams here in Chicago, but if you're just for Chicago Bears centric, we've got you covered with exclusive written content, discount on events, tailgates all season long. We do draft parties, we do live shows, we do a lot of different things that are at your disposal. And then, of course, you get discounts on all our merchandise throughout the season as well. We're releasing different shirts all the time. So it's just going to be a lot of fun, man. And if you guys sign up, you won't regret it. I can promise you that. And if you come to the tailgate week 1, you are going to have the greatest time of your life, because every year week 1 tailgates at the corner of Wabash and Cermak, it is a absolute party. It's going to be a madhouse there. I cannot wait. 2 weeks away.
All right. Well, you are here for that diehard content and want to know what's going on with the Bears. So we're going to jump into that right now. I will say John Z does have a 5 takeaways column up this morning at All CHGO for those of you that are diehards or about to become diehards because of that great deal. So go check that out. All right. So the Bears did make some official moves yesterday, late in the afternoon. There's been at least one reported move this morning. We'll talk about that too. And then there's just sort of a lot of speculation. I think we might see some more moves here made ahead of practice. Declan Doyle's supposed to talk to the media in about 90 minutes, a little bit less than 90 minutes now. So we'll see if some official moves come in, maybe perhaps while we're still doing the show live here for you at noon. But here's what you got. We knew this one was coming. Terrell Smith, cornerback, got put on IR. That's a very, very significant move. It hurts the cornerback depth. There's a few things I'll get into after watching the tape, Greg, over the weekend from Friday's game, but there are, I never want to overblow preseason games either way. It's why I didn't get too high on the Bills game last week, and I'm not going to get too low on the Chiefs game, but there were a few concerning things. And one is, like, I don't know that Trey Flowers is going to cut it as your last corner at this point in his career. And so losing Terrell Smith just sort of was amplified in that game for me. And Deshaun Wright took a step backwards too as he was competing. I think he's a fine backup, but I think he probably lost his opportunity to start. So just losing a guy like Terrell Smith, who we knew was depth, a guy who probably could start in a pinch if needed, that one hurts. And then
you can join me in my efforts to bring back training camp hero of last year, Reddy Stewart, who
saw that
was cut by the Vikings. So join me.
Doesn't he play safety?
He was playing corner last year for the Bears. I don't know what he's doing in Minnesota. Brian Flores got everybody all over the football field, but we need some secondary help. Reddy is a ball hawk, and I know Ryan Poles is familiar with him. Maybe this coaching staff isn't, but I'm gonna push this agenda on Twitter, see where it gets me.
All right. Well, something tells me he'll be on the Vikings practice squad and still at Soldier Field in week 1. Or maybe not if he doesn't travel. The following 6 players were officially waived yesterday. Linebacker Swayze Bozeman, who had the best name on the team. Chris Glazer, Thomas Gordon, the tight end. Mark Perry, defensive back. Samori Toure, wide receiver. And then Jeremiah Walker, Walker, the corner as well. So those were your official moves. And then Brad Biggs, I know, reported like an hour or so ago that Joel Wilson, the tight end, was also waived, which no surprise there. I have to imagine he's got a chance to make it back to the practice squad potentially. But that is also an indication of probably informing some more players this morning at House Hall about where they stand before practice gets underway at 2:00. None of these were huge moves, Greg, so I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on it. I know there is one guy, though, and it's funny because we talked about this last week. There really wasn't that quote-unquote training camp hero that the fans were going to be, rioting on the streets if he got waived, only to land on the practice squad 24 hours later. But I do think this is worth discussing at this point. Brought it up on the post-game show on Friday night as well. But with what Jahdae Walker has done here in these last 2 preseason games, and really, and I know this is something Johns keeps harping on too, it really started with that extremely physical practice the Bears had ahead of the Dolphins game that week. That was the first day, number 20 out there, and we got to work on his wide receiver number 2. But number 20 out there was making plays, and you're like, oh, this is standing out. And then from that point on, the dude was really, really good. And obviously that 4th quarter game-winning drive that Tyson Bagent put together with Walker the other night, a couple really nice plays, including that toe tap on the sideline that they initially called incomplete that they ended up reversing. I don't know, Greg. Perhaps this is a Hoge meatball take, but I think you got to keep him on the 53. I really do. I think he's shown enough that he actually is in danger of getting claimed by another team. His his RAS scores, his athletic scores coming out were really good. He's got good size. He showed the ability to make tough catches in the preseason. I just think he's shown too much at this point to risk losing him.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's interesting because I know a lot of 53-man projections, including yours as well, if I'm correct, only has 5 wide receivers making the roster.
Yes, however, that was made before that game Friday, and if we had spent more time over the weekend, I think I would have adjusted that to include Walker.
Right, because that's the big question, because if it's only going to be 5, you mentioned it multiple times on our post-game show, the return man, as much as you want to make an impact on special teams, being a gunner or, in coverage or whatever you want to say, this return man, situation is certainly of concern. You brought in Devin Duvernay, who's been a Pro Bowler as a returner. So, whether he's shown enough or not, you almost feel like he has to make the roster just based off of his ability to return the ball and the lack of options the Bears have, unless you're really going to, lean on Luther Burden to return kicks, which he certainly has the ability. But just like Rome Odunze the last year, when I'm thinking about a guy that has the potential of impact on offense that he can have, sometimes I get nervous putting a guy out there for returns. If it's not situationally, you can put a guy like Luther or Rome in a situational moment, but every time putting him in harm's way when it's, I don't always feel comfortable with that. So Devin Duvernay should make the roster. So then it is a question of, will they keep 6 wide receivers? And if they do, then Jahdae Walker should make it over some of these other guys that we've taken a look at, including a guy like Tyler Scott, who's, been here a few years and just hasn't had his opportunity. But it's clear that Jahdae Walker is more than just a good story. And then the question is if you cut him, will he make it to the practice squad?
So look, let me go through that because I saw some tweets over the weekend about this. And I'm the first to acknowledge this. Most of the time in these situations, the guy that you're panicking over possibly losing clears waivers and ends up on your practice squad. Most of the time, probably 90% of the time. It's a case-by-case basis thing, obviously. But there are exceptions, and we see every year the Bears claim some players. Crave the Block, just to throw a name out there that comes to mind top of my head. The Bears claimed him from the Eagles that year, and he ended up playing 3 or 4 seasons with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So it does happen, and there are a lot of wide receiver needy teams out there right now. And I'll tell you, I know I was having fun on the postgame show Friday night being the special teams tackle he made after the touchdown was what cemented it for me. That might actually be what cements it, because it mixed in on this is, okay, if we're going to keep him, how can he help? Because realistically, what are the amount of snaps? Will he even be active on game day week 1? I mean, that's what we always kind of forget with these last roster guys. But if he can actually cover on kickoff, if he can actually be a gunner on punt, that is a huge deal that would help his case. Or if some team watching the tape out there who had a high draft evaluation on him, despite the fact that he went undrafted, but they liked him as a 7th rounder or whatever, somebody they wanted to sign post-draft, and they're keeping their eye on him, and they're going, oh, that's a nice play, or, whatever, then that might be what gets them to claim him to put them on their 53. Because remember, if you claim somebody off of waivers, they have to be put on your 53-man roster. It can't be stashed on their practice squad. So I just think this is worth discussing. If the Bears were to cut Jahdae Walker, I feel like there's still a more than likely chance he would get to the practice squad, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. And I just think with where this team's at, we make such a big deal about these last few roster spots, and then by the time we're in week 5, you're like, wait, who is that guy again? You know what I mean? It's a little overblown.
And they roll over the roster at that point so many times. By the time you get halfway through the season, these last few roster spots have been rolled over so many times. And I guess the other question too is, when you talk about isn't a guarantee whether or not Jahdae Walker would make it to the practice squad, when you look between him and Tyler Scott, and I don't know how much of a bubble opportunity Tyler has with this coaching staff or not. He has made plays at camp. He's even gotten some first team reps too. So I've always found that interesting just in terms of where he stands with this team. But at the same time, let me ask you this, Hoge, like if you were to try to sneak someone to the practice squad, who's the one that might be easier to sneak at this point? Jahdae Walker, who's come out of nowhere here as a undrafted free agent first year, or Tyler Scott, who's been in the league a few years but hasn't really made any noise?
Yeah, I guess this is just more my personal opinion. I'm just not worried about Tyler Scott. Like, I've kind of moved on. I don't, if you were to cut him and you don't bring him back to your practice squad, I would be much more worried about losing a rookie who maybe was undervalued, maybe didn't get enough attention coming out, and there might be more to bite off there. I don't see it with Scott. I think he's still got great route running ability and can get open, but anytime it's a 50-50 ball or he's got to track a ball deep downfield, it seems like that becomes all of a sudden a 20% chance that it's going to be caught. And he didn't take advantage of his return opportunities in the preseason either. So I'm okay with it. I just am. And even if you like, hey, well, maybe he's got some upside as a returner, he just hasn't figured out what is that upside. Is it better than somebody you can go get off the street if you really needed to in a pinch?
Right. And, so Jahdae Walker also tweeted, as Bears fans always freak out over cryptic tweets this time of year. He tweeted a few days ago, "Nothing promised, everything earned. Hashtag they ain't invite me." And so some people, it's like funny how you perceive things, because some people were like, oh, he made the roster because he said everything earned, but then the hashtag they ain't invite me. Does that mean he's not invited to the 53-man roster? So he clarified. Somebody said in the comments, like, well, maybe he was just referencing the teams that passed him up in the draft, and he said exactly. So still no official word on what's going to happen with this decision with Jahdae Walker, but he certainly has earned every opportunity to this point. So it's been a good story.
I think I might just start putting like random cryptic tweets on Twitter just to start stuff. See like what all the conspiracy.
If you right now tweeted eyeball emojis right now, do it. Yeah. Just do it right now.
And then 3 hours from now, be like, guys, I just got new glasses. I just got new glasses. So I put eyeball emojis on
I challenge you to do this. Let's shake up the Bears Twitter tree. Tweet eyeball emojis right now, and everyone will lose their mind.
I don't want to.
I could tweet it, and people would lose their mind, but with you, they'd really, really lose their mind.
Yeah, but then I'd lose credibility when it's nothing.
No, because we'll clip this later and show people. We've got you by we've got you by a string, Bears
gotcha.
Twitter.
All right. Right now we got you for a break. We'll be right back. We're going to hear from Tyson Bagent because Carm stalked him to the White Sox game yesterday. And we'll get into the NFC North as well. There's yes. There's also a little trade rumor that just popped up. It's not eyeball emojis. It's an actual tweet from an ESPN insider. So we'll tell you about that coming up next as well. But first, all right, let's be real for a second. The world's gone soft. The Miami Dolphins got soft. Nobody can tackle anymore. Everybody's worried about feelings in football. The Bears are not worried about that now. But hey, soda used to have some kick. We should call that pop, not soda, by the way. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. Well, RC Cola, a new sponsor of ours here at CHGO, is not a soft drink, just a damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC is an OG cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. Do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end of summer parties, back to school celebrations, or just watching the game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing.
That's right. And I'm Team Cola. We keep it classy around here at CHGO Bears. And you know where else you got to keep it classy? That's with our guys over at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. They're slashing prices on new cars and giving big savings all month long. Come in today to shop new car clearance event. Check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. As one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you'll get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. So shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Okay, keeping things moving here on CHGO Bears, which is powered by Bet365. Should we start with this little? Yeah, let's get this little trade rumor that came up here. Jeremy Fowler, our guy, he's been on the program. He reported about 10 minutes ago or so, with a log jam and offensive line, the Bears are exploring trade options for guard Jordan McFadden, per source. McFadden played 124 snaps the last 2 preseason games and held up well. Can I translate?
Yeah.
We have to cut this guy. Someone please give us a 7th round pick.
It also, and this just goes back to somebody else made this point with the Eagles trading for Fred Johnson, the offensive tackle from the Jaguars. But, having offensive linemen is a premium, and they may not be names that you respect or recognize, but because there is just such a shortage of quality offensive linemen, like even dangling Jordan McFadden out there through Jeremy Fowler is something of value, and that's just kind of, I think when Bears fans, we look at, where this offensive line has gone from last year to this year. And obviously they certainly have upgraded in the interior and trying to bolster their depth and figure out who their swing tackle is. And you've got, Luke Newman, who looked really good in a preseason game as a rookie. Like, these guys are hard to come by, man. And so to have an opportunity to try to send somewhere else that is serviceable, don't undersell serviceable when you're talking about offensive linemen in this league, because they're hard to come by.
Yeah. And look, so they've probably identified Jordan McFadden as somebody that they're, feel like they're in danger of losing if they want to try to get him to the practice squad. So instead of just losing him straight up, you maybe try to do a pick swap, move up around, get something for him, right? Or just grab a 7th. We'll see if that works, but those are the types of moves that get made right around this time. All right. Yesterday, the White Sox not only demolished the Minnesota Twins once again, and Colson Montgomery just looks amazing. Just wanted to throw that out there. Tyson Bagent got the whole thing started. If Tyson shows up, good things happen, right? He was at the White Sox game yesterday, throwing out the first pitch. What a week for Tyson Bagent. Contract extension, insane comeback Friday night, even though it's a preseason game. Awesome moment for him. And then he gets to throw out the first pitch at the Sox game yesterday. And then you just knew there's no way, even though he had to fly to New York like 45 minutes after. I still don't know how he did this, but Mark Carman somehow still managed to follow Tyson Bagent to we'll go lightly there. Follow Tyson Bagent to the White Sox game. He's got the warm-up video out in the parking lot right behind the plate for it would have been hilarious if that pitch got astray and just like hit Carm in the background as he's filming it.
I was rooting for it.
And then he had a chance to talk to Tyson after the first pitch for a few minutes. We thought we'd bring that to you here on the show. Here's that conversation.
All right, Tyson, highlight of the week. Contract, incredible touchdown pass, or throwing out the first pitch. Where are we going?
First pitch? No, I'm just kidding. First pitch was cool, but definitely how we finished the preseason, I thought that was definitely the highlight of the week.
Did you know you were playing the entire second half going into the game?
No, I just do as I'm told in the moment. And that is more of what happened last game.
So the play to Jahdae, take us through it. What was going on in the huddle beforehand? Did you know you were going there?
Yeah, so no timeouts, obviously. Clock stops, 7 seconds left. On the 7-yard line, fastball situation. We're taking 2 shots at the end zone, right? So this one, I know I can't take more than 7 seconds. So let's get this ball up and down, give somebody a shot, so that then we can call a perfect play for the last game and do a better job taking our time. Luckily for Bears Nation, Jahdae wins at the line of scrimmage, beats his guy outside, put it somewhere where he can catch it, a.k.a. right in his chest. And it was all she wrote from there. He did a great job hauling it in.
Was that first read?
Yeah, just pick a side, get the ball up and down, and then have another shot to end the game.
Do you remember your instant reaction once you let go of the ball? Like, that looks good?
Yeah, I was like, oh, we got a chance. We got a chance, and then obviously the rest was history.
People should know, by the way, that this White Sox jersey, it's just not for show. I mean, you're on board here. I think what are you? You're 5-0 here this year?
5-0, about to be 6-0. They're out there handling business right now, so yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. All right. Before we'll probably talk to you again after the season starts here, but like last moment, knowing that you're going to be in Chicago for a while, it's got to feel good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Chicago's my second home, as I've stated before, and I'm glad I'm here for a little bit longer.
You know, for a team as bad as the White Sox are, for him to be 6-0 at games this year,
That's almost impossible.
like, can we get him to go to every game next season?
Yeah, I mean, that would
Like,
be
at least from April to like when training camp starts. Can he just go to
sounds
every
like a
game?
real punishment that I don't know if he deserves, but no, but it's a nice job by Carm. And obviously what a week for Tyson and what a week for Carm.
Who's now at the US Open
on the Tyson Bagent journey all week, but it was good coverage throughout. And Tyson obviously is just such a energetic guy that, you gravitate towards those kind of guys. And certainly you see that this team has as well, everyone, Caleb included, like these guys, certainly appreciate and respect what Tyson is to this team and where he has come from. So, it's going to be one of these things now where you have this premium, for the next couple of years, and you don't hope you have to take advantage of it. Caleb played all 17 games last year, but that's not the norm. Most teams have to use their backup quarterback, for a game or two throughout a season. And so if that comes, I think Bears fans can feel very confident in the quarterback that's coming in with Tyson.
All right. We'll switch gears here just a little bit. And I wanted to just quickly, we'll spend more time going through each NFC North team with a little bit more attention to detail once we probably get through the roster. In fact, Thursday, I know we're going to spend a good amount of time on the Vikings, and Vikings radio analyst Pete Bursich is going to join us Thursday. And of course, that's the first opponent. But I thought I consumed quite a bit of preseason football, as I like to do, because what else is there to do besides watch football and Tommy Fleetwood win the Tour Championship yesterday? But so we'll start with the Vikings. So I just thought I'd give some quick thoughts on all three other NFC North teams. The Vikings are super interesting to me, and it's a really tough test for Caleb Williams week one. It's not the final exam, but it's almost like having to take your midterms on the first day of class. We'll put it that way, because this defense, this Brian Flores scheme, is just so complex and so honestly unsound in how, where you don't know where the pressure's coming from on any given play, that it can be a lot for a young quarterback to handle. The good news is Ben Johnson seems to have cracked the code with his time in Detroit. And so I do think that he will be providing Caleb Williams answers to that midterm. And it's just up to Caleb to kind of take those answers and find some success. I think but the Vikings themselves, just to give you a little update, like, I think this defense is going to be really good. They're mixing good talent. They were a little soft on the interior of their D-line, so they go out and they get Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. I think there's questions about how healthy those guys might stay throughout the whole season, but they upgraded where they needed to upgrade. We know that the pass rush is good with Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, and those guys, especially Van Ginkel, finds a way to get his hands on the football. They're probably still weak at corner, though. So there's still opportunities to, I think, exploit them at times. And then offensively, I just wanted to share this nugget and some of the research I've already been doing on ahead of week one. I find it super interesting, this pivot to JJ McCarthy. There's no question that it's to me the right move and what they have to do after drafting him a year ago. But, last year, despite all the success that the Vikings had, it was a lot through Sam Darnold chucking the ball through the air. And they were 27th actually, these are numbers under Kevin O'Connell, not just last year, but through 3 seasons, Greg. 27th in rushing per attempt and 29th in yards per carry. They haven't been that good at running the football under KOC, despite all the offensive success. The reason I bring that up is because JJ McCarthy, in terms of quarterback flavors, is very different. He's a guy that it is just going to be, I hate to say this like this because it always sounds like a knock, but it's going to be more of a game management type of offense where he's got a high completion percentage. He always has. I think he's 72.3 at Michigan. And so another way of me saying is they're going to need the run game. So they go out and they add Jordan Mason, which I think is a good add. But Aaron Jones carried the ball a lot last year and he's getting older. So there's a risky sort of element in this shift. And I don't know that it's going to go as smooth or as consistent on a week-to-week basis with the Vikings, who, oh, by the way, are very thin at wide receiver. They have one of the best, obviously, in Jefferson. But beyond that, with Jordan Addison missing the first 3 games, they're thin right now. So I think they're going to be a good team, but they still have a lot of questions to answer. There was a lot, probably more than one quick thought on the Vikings, but that's kind of where things stand in my mind heading into this first game.
Yeah, no question. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And Justin Jefferson just started to return for the Vikings. So we'll find out from Pete Bursich here on Thursday, just how much work they've been able to get in. And, obviously, building chemistry is going to be something that develops over time between him and JJ McCarthy, but you definitely wonder, how much chemistry they're going to really be able to get together, having not done any kind of joint practices, live bullets, live preseason, any of that to go into week one to have a reference off of. That stuff does matter. I understand Justin Jefferson has no problem getting open, and I'm sure JJ McCarthy will be able to find him when he does. But when you talk about the run game, it's certainly something of note, but also we have to know that Aaron Jones is over there as well. And even though he's getting a little longer in the tooth, he's somebody the Bears have had trouble against. And last year, the last time the Bears played the Vikings in Minnesota, Aaron Jones had 18 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. Cam Akers, who actually just got released here. I know some Bears fans are not by the Vikings, by a different team. Akers is now on the waiver wire, so I know some fans are looking at him. He had a touchdown as well. So, I think Kevin O'Connell is one of the best play callers in the league, is going to understand, like, hey, let's see. And if you looked at the run defense, on Friday, I understand it was very vanilla looks, but I'm sure they're going to try to test this Bears defensive line on how much they're going to be able to stop the run. It's going to be key. No question about it. And stopping Aaron Jones is going to be, should be at the forefront of the Bears' minds.
All right. And then we got Pat Norton standby, so I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but quickly on the Lions, they in this week 2 opponent. So you're jumping right back into this with the Lions. My big takeaway here is I don't see any world in which they're as good offensively. I just don't think it's possible. They've been the number 1 EPA offense under Ben Johnson. You can't tell me that John Morton's going to come in here and just keep that going. Now, can they still be a top 10 offense? Probably. So but the point is there's got to be some drop off there. There just has to be. But I do think that they have the pieces in the system, and Dan Campbell's still the head coach. There's enough there to keep them going enough. Meanwhile, I think the defense could actually be better in a weird way. So they they promote Kelvin Shepherd, so they keep a lot of continuity there between what Aaron Glenn had going. And obviously they're already healthier. They get Aiden Hutchinson back. And they're gonna continue to be a better man defense team than zone. Their EPA defensively slips when they go into zone. So I think a lot of that identity is still going to be the same, but I think that they're gonna probably lose just 2 or 3 games because offensively, I don't know that they're gonna just be able to win shootouts every week. And so the point is, if I had to pick the NFC North winner right now, would it be the Lions? Yes. But there's going to be a gap that closes there, I think. And there's going to be opportunities, I would say, including week 2 for the Bears to win at least one, if not, both of those games. I think they'll be good games against the Lions. And then finally with the Packers, I got to be honest, I'm not impressed. I don't see a better roster. And I feel like I said the same thing last year. The Packers are the Packers. They're sort of stuck in neutral, but neutral solid, right? Like they're still going to be good. But Jordan Love, I'm not in love with the guy. I think he's okay. I think that every week they're going to be competitive. The Bears games will probably go down to the wire just like they did last year. But I think one of the most underrated stats in football from last season, Greg, was that they were a blocked field goal away from going 0-6 in the NFC North.
Right.
They were. They were that close to not winning a single game in the division. And I think that might actually be an indication of where they kind of are in the division. So call this a hot take, but if I had to pick the team to finish last in the NFC North right now, it would be the Green Bay Packers.
Wow. This is a long way from last year where you were hardlined. I will not say, the Bears can ever beat the Green Bay Packers until they prove it. Well, then they did beat them.
They did.
Yep, they beat them.
They kind of did it twice.
So we'll see. Like you said, they're kind of stuck in neutral, but neutral good, I think, is a good way of putting it. Like they are kind of stuck in the middle. I don't think Jordan Love is as bad as some Bears fans try to make him out to be. He's certainly somebody that can have a propensity to make mistakes, but the reason for that is because he's not afraid to make any throw. And so that's not a terrible. He's just a conundrum of a quarterback, and the Packers have to deal with that conundrum. But his throwing ability is very, very, very good. And he can make some tight window throws that just make you, just kind of be in awe. And then there's other times where, he's really upsetting Packer fans with some dumb boneheaded decisions. So it'll be interesting. Looking forward to the Bears, continuing their momentum that they started the year with.
All right, we will take a timeout. We'll come back. We have Pat Norton standing by at Hallis Hall right now, and he's been keeping track of all the cuts and roster moves for us. So we'll dive into some of that with Patrick Norton coming up next. But first, this, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Just sign up, use code CHGO365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5, and now you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. And right now, football is here, which means we got the football early payout offer for you. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So breaking news from Bet365. Playoff season is here in some other sports, well, primarily baseball. And new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5. You'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays. They take care of you, the people. So save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month and AC furnace combos from $57 a month. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
Keeping things going with the CHGO Bears, a podcast powered by Bet365. Adam Hoge, Greg Braggs Jr. with you on this Monday, 2 weeks away from the week 1 opener against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. We head out to Hallis Hall, where I will be headed over shortly, where Pat Norton is standing by, our guy who's, if you're not already following Pat's work, you should be, because he was already covering the home games last year. He's going to be helping Johnsy at the home games this year. He might even send him out on the road a little bit, and he's going to be at Hallis plenty as he is right now. And he's sipping on RC Cola. Look at that. What a
company man. Company man.
Some champions right here. Yeah. No, it's great. How's it going?
Good. I mean, you tell us. We're tracking the cuts. It seems like we might have some more moves here before they take the field, and Declan Doyle's supposed to talk at 1:30 here.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't think Kevin Byard or Cole Kmet will be cut. They are speaking after practice today.
Oh, okay.
So
Good.
you heard it here first.
That's good reporting.
Looks like those two guys are going to make the team.
Yeah. Gary's wondering why the Bears haven't released more cut names, or at least 10 other guys who know their fate already. I hate how teams do the cuts. They're trying to get paid by social media.
Gary's on it. I mean that's a great ploy, I think.
Typically the Bears just put out press releases right before whoever's supposed to talk is talking that day. So I don't think it's any more complicated than that. But
No.
Yeah, why don't we obviously no surprises on the moves yesterday, Pat. Where do you stand? We were talking earlier about Jahdae Walker. Where do you kind of stand on where he might be relative to exposing him to the waiver wire and possibly putting him on the practice squad if he gets there?
Now, I've always liked the idea of carrying a sixth wide receiver. And this is something that Carm and I were kind of looking at and tracking throughout camp, where originally we had thought maybe Miles Boykin is the sixth guy. I really liked Samori Toure, who was cut who was cut yesterday. I liked him back in minicamp. I didn't like him as much in training camp. He popped a little bit during OTAs and was having a stronger start there, and was a guy who was with the practice squad all of last season. So you'd think, all right, maybe he's got a leg up. It just didn't translate in training camp. Jahdae Walker, though, was someone who put something on tape or put something just in front of everybody pretty much every single day. And I love the point that you made where, yeah, he does need a better wide receiver number. 20 is not going to cut it. And it almost felt like, all right, so you're giving him 20. You gave Zay Frazier 20. It was almost like you gave him that jersey number with the expectation, this guy's not going to be here very long. That, I feel like, has changed. And he looked not only good during training camp practices, and even looked good going back to rookie minicamp. Like he's in our notebooks that we posted back then because he was someone who looked good then. He, to me, is kind of that new success story, because on this roster, I don't think you're going to find too many guys that give you a big shock in making the 53-man. I think he's probably the closest that you'll get.
What do you think is the chances? Because me and Hoge kind of going back and forth with this the last few days. Is there an opportunity for him to make it to the practice squad, or do you think another team would pick him up?
I probably think that another team would pick him up. I don't think I know enough about where other teams are at wide receiver to give you a definitive answer on that. But it just kind of feels like wide receiver is one of those positions where teams are always looking for what's next. It's not always about, oh, let's go back, let's grab someone like, there's a bad name to use, but like Kelvin Benjamin. Like Kelvin Benjamin's passed. Like no one's going back to pick him up. You're looking for the next Jahdae Walker. You're looking for the next guy to then start as, all right, we can build this guy kind of from the ground up, have him here from day one. So that's kind of where I'd look at him from that standpoint. And that young guy did well in college. Like I think that's kind of lost on people, is that he did very well at A&M, just on less than A&M teams. So guy who did well in college, guy who did well so far throughout his rookie mini camp and then through his rookie training camp. Those guys, I feel like, typically don't make it through the waiver process.
Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody too, kind of what you got going on the website?
Yeah,
we're keeping track of all this, and I know Johnsy and I are going to chime in a little bit too.
Yeah. So I did this last year, but I did it again 2 days ago. I put together a roster tracker. So we are tracking every single move that they will make, whether it is waiving a guy, contract termination, or an injury. So on there, you can find, and it's pinned to the top of the site. So all you have to do is go to allchgo.com. You'll find it right there, front and center. It will have the roster as it currently stands, which I believe is currently at 83. So we'll have the roster updated, as well as cuts that you need to know, and then myself and Johns and yourself will add some analysis on certain guys kind of throughout up until week 1.
Going real quick, going back to Jahdae Walker, I thought this was interesting. Note as well for my guy Aldo from Barroom. He mentioned a couple days ago saying Jahdae Walker is 6'3" and ran a 4.43 40-yard dash at his pro day and an impressive 6.703 cone. So it's interesting just when you look at his measurables and his athletic ability. This guy, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what he's able to do if he makes this roster.
Well, it really kind of makes you think what made him slip through the cracks and go undrafted to begin with, because I feel like a 6'3" guy with exceptional speed, especially for his size, those guys typically don't fall 7 rounds and out. And considering that he was decent in college and that he's had such a good camp, it makes you think what happened beforehand, or how did everybody seemingly miss this? But that's also what makes the best success stories. That's what made Tyson Bagent such a fan favorite, is he's a guy who went to a D2 school, set records in college. Like, it's not like he was some lackluster scrub or anything like that in college. He had a tremendously successful career at Shepherd, and then works his way onto that roster and beats out other veterans to make that initial 53 man. And that's why Carm loves him. That's why all of us love him. Like that's why he is such a beloved figure in Chicago sports right now.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. Sorry. Yep.
No, real quick, Greg. I'm looking at the beast. Our guy Dane Brugler does such a good job with this every single year. So he does 53 write-ups on wide receivers. He's got 53 wide receivers written up for the draft this year. Okay. And then a long list of best of the rest. It actually goes up to, which is insane, 425 wide receivers, which is way more than like even draft slots at the draft, right? That's just wide receivers. Jahdae Walker was 110th. 110th. Yeah. So he's 53 was the last write-up spot. He's 110th. Texas A&M 6'2", 7'8", 199 pounds, ran a 4.4 540. Like, and somehow, so it's like it's hard to what to make of this guy. Like that. Dane is dialed in enough that tells me that he probably would still clear waivers, because his rankings or scouting tends to jive very similarly with how 32 NFL team. Now there might be one team that has him higher than 110th, right? There's probably more than that, but still we're talking about, like, even if he has him at 53, like, you're probably not making a roster.
No,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the success story of the NFL that everybody gloms onto and loves, and there's no telling if he will actually make the 53. I think the chances are better than 50% at this point. I mean, he's not only flashed in 1 but 2 preseason games, and that last drive was so impressive to get that second foot down. Everyone's talking about the touchdown catch, which was great, but I feel like that toe tap to start the drive is one of the more impressive catches that you'll see at the pro level, because especially for an undrafted rookie, credit to Antoine Randall for hammering it into these guys to get the 2 feet down. That is typically an adjustment that you see from some of these college receivers, is they're used to getting the 1 foot. So for him to have the wherewithal to get that second foot, he's got it mentally, he's got it physically too, and that you can't buy that. So,
well, who's your surprise cut? I've seen some different names thrown about there. Dan Wieters setting the world on fire earlier today, potentially putting out the chance that Andrew Billings might be the surprise cut. Do you have any surprise cuts when you look at this roster, Pat?
I think it's pretty clear cut at this point. I don't want to say too clear cut. I think that there will be some guys that you can have an argument about. Dominique Robinson, excuse me, is not someone who I expect to make the team. I just don't think that he did enough in the preseason. And I think if you're really looking at it, the running backs is kind of the only position where you can really have too much of an argument. Because Travis Homer, we don't know about his health right now. We don't really know about Roschon. Is Roschon someone who doesn't make it because he isn't able to be counted on right now? I don't know. Is Roschon someone? Here's my question: is Roschon someone who, if you cut, doesn't make it through waivers? I don't know, because I don't know if other teams. I don't know how other teams view him. I think he likely makes the team. I think that this is probably a moot point, but he's definitely someone who I would at least just kind of keep your eye open for as kind of we go on.
Yeah, I think there's a few. Yeah, I don't know. There's a few murky guys like that, like Roschon and Karan Amagashi, right? Like,
yeah.
Is there another team that this goes back to the conversation about draft evaluations? But it really is that. I mean, that's what these teams really rely on. Is they go, hey, we thought of this guy highly at the draft, and he's out there and available. Do we take a swing on it? And sometimes that's all it takes.
Well, and so and aside from Roschon too, I mentioned Travis Homer and the questions about his health too. He's been relied upon as a core special teams guy. I feel like the best ability on special teams is availability. And so kind of whatever you're going to see with Travis Homer, we'll see transpire over the next, I suppose few hours. But even looking past Ian Wheeler, because I think Ian Wheeler's got a good chance to return to the practice squad, assuming that he is cut in the event that he is. But, Britton Brown, I thought, contributed well not only to the running back group, but also did well on special teams in the few opportunities that he had. To me, he's a candidate to replace Homer in the event that you cut Homer at that point.
Yeah, makes sense. Gary's wondering if Blackwell's on the chopping block with McLeod ahead of him.
I don't
that would
think
shock
so.
me. Yeah, that would shock me. He's just too important on special teams. You heard what Hightower had to say about him. We played those comments on the show. And I keep saying it's not always about like, hey, this guy versus this guy at this position group. It's this guy versus this guy on the other side of the ball for special teams. And so to to potentially cut Blackwell when Homer's in question, Roshan Johnson's in question, like all these guys are in question. That would really surprise me. Plus, Miles Boykin, I brought this up before, has quietly been playing on almost every special teams unit, and that would be like a name I'd put out there as a surprise and make it, because I think most people are assuming he doesn't make it, but he's somebody that'd be like, if all of a sudden Miles Boykin's still on this team, that's why.
He is someone who he's the guy who Carm and I identified as wide receiver 6 probably about 2 weeks ago. And then 15 minutes later, he had an ankle injury and left practice early. I don't see a path. I mean, I think obviously you and I would probably be in agreement on this. I don't see a path for Boykin to make it if Jahdae also makes it. I think that gets really, really tight at that point. But he's definitely a guy who can chip in on special teams. And as for Blackwell, I think you'd probably call him this team's version, or he's turned into this team's Sherrick McManus, and just the ultimate special teamer, can chip in on defense when called upon, but really just kind of is that guy who is out there on just about every special team snap that you'll find.
That's a good comp, because Sherrick was so good for so long, but when he actually had to go in there and start, then you know he would get exposed sometimes. So
yeah,
that is a good comp. All right, Patrick Norton out at Hallis. He'll have you guys covered for Declan Doyle's press conference coming up at 1:30. I'm gonna do my best to get there by then too, and we'll have you covered with practice though, which starts at 2. And of course, if any cuts come along, make sure you follow our roster tracker, allchgo.com. That's up there now. That bookmark it and keep it handy, because we'll not only with what happens, but we'll give you the analysis of it as well, as Steven throws that link on the screen and in the chat. All right. Thanks, Pat. See you in a little bit.
See you guys.
All right. Patrick Norton from Hallis Hall. We also have some CHGO news to share with you, because new football season, new shirts. Got a lot of new merch floating out there, and these just dropped this morning, right, Greg?
Yep, absolutely. Actually just dropped a few minutes ago here on the mean streets of Twitter. So there it is. You saw the first shirt when we dropped our tailgate deal for diehards to sign up, and we can read that back, where you can have an opportunity to become a diehard, or if you are a diehard, upgrade your diehard package. That'll include 2 tailgate. It's called the tailgate tier, and that includes a free t-shirt, which you can get one of these 3, and 2 Bears tailgate tickets. And so, as we said earlier, the value of that pays for itself. And now 2 new shirts drop along with this, CHGO football with the bear over the city, and monsters are real.
Love it. Love it. Go get those right now. And we do have one super chat. It's our guy Brawl Sack. He's coming in hot once again. $10. Says if the Bears cut Jahdae Walker, it'll be almost as tragic as when Taco Bell cut the quesarito from their menu. Hashtag bring it back, you cowards. Hashtag live Moss.
Love it. Great job, Bralsack. Loving it. Loving the effort you're putting in. We will get partnered by Taco Bell, and you will get all the credit.
This is only one of 3 Bear shows coming your way here on CHGO right now. Well, not right now, like 90 seconds from now, Hoge Johns will drop over on the Hoge Johns channel. So that's coming your way, 1 p.m. Brand new episode. Ross Tucker joins us on that one with a lot of interesting things to say from what he's seen from Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and a lot of good offensive line talk in there. We talked about if we feel better, worse, or the same on some key areas of the Bears offense and defense. So you can check that out as soon as we're done here. And Greg, what's going on After Dark tonight?
Well, we're running it back as we have been here the last month, and we are 2 weeks away from the regular season. When we do that show, it will literally be 2 weeks from that exact moment. So we'll recap kind of the preseason in its totality, and with Monday next week being a holiday, kind of give our overarching view of what to expect going into the Vikings game. So join me and, of course, Adam Rank, Phil Atoshin, and Shane Marsaw as we have a little roundtable meatball discussion, as we've been doing here throughout this last month, lot of passion and, a lot of fire and intensity with those three. So I'm excited to, chop it up with those guys once again.
And I'm sure you guys will have some more roster moves to discuss tonight as well. So that's all going on. Again, Hoge and Johns coming up right after this, and Bears After Dark this evening. Go get those new shirts. Join if you're not a diehard. I feel like you guys are probably all diehards. Not all of you, but if you are, go upgrade to the tailgate tier. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you in a couple of weeks with the first tailgate of the season. For us, we will see you on this show tomorrow. We're doing another post-practice show. There is a practice tomorrow. I will be there. Johnsy will be there. Pat will be there. And then Greg and I will jump on here, and as a group, we'll recap everything you need to see. By then, the rosters, the cuts will have happened too, so we'll have all of them to react to at that point. So a lot going on. Again, Hoge and Johns starting right now over on the Hoge and Johns YouTube channel. Go check it out. Go hit subscribe on both of these. Hit the like button. We appreciate you, and don't miss Bears After Dark tonight. See you later.
We all silly like the mayor.